Good morning, children. Hope you all are safe and healthy staying at home. In last class, we had done about the crown and canopy of the forest. Now, in this class, moving further, activity 17.2. Visit a forest or a park in your neighborhood. Observe the trees and try to identify them. You can take the help of some elders or books on trees. List the characteristics of the trees that you observe, such as the height, shape of leaves, crown, flowers, and fruits. Also draw the crown of some trees, that is the topmost part of the trees. Professor Ahmed pointed out that trees had crowns of different types and sizes. These had created different horizontal layers in the forest. These are known as understories. Below the canopy is the understory. Giant and tall trees constituted the top layer, followed by shrubs and tall grasses, and herbs form the lowest layer. So topmost layer is the trees. Second is the shrubs, that means a little lesser than the trees, lower than the trees. Then it is the smallest part, the grasses, the herbs, the lowest layers. Would we see similar kind of trees in every forest? No. Every time, in every place, the climatic conditions are different, soil variety is different, favorable for different types of trees. So trees are always different in every forest. Asked Pucho. Professor Ahmed said no, due to different climatic conditions, there are variations in the types of trees and other plants. The types of animals also differ from forest to forest. A few children were busy watching beautiful butterflies fluttering here and there on the flowers of shrubs and herbs. They had a close look at the bushes. While doing that, their hair and clothes had seeds and shrubs clinging to them. So this is how the seeds get scattered. When the seeds, they cling on to the clothes or the fur of the animals, and we shed it somewhere else or animals shed it somewhere else, the seeds get scattered. They came across numerous insects, spiders, squirrels, ants, and various other small animals on the bark of the trees, plant leaves, and on decaying leaves on the forest floor. Obviously, on the forest floor, there are leaves which are falling down, they are dying, decaying over there, forming humus. They started making sketches of these creatures. The forest floor seemed dark colored. Why? Due to the formation of the humus. What is humus, children? Humus is the organic matter formed by the leaves, dead plants, and these humus helps in the increasing the fertility of the soil, and was covered with a layer of dead and decaying leaves, fruits, seeds, twigs, and small herbs. The decaying matter was moist and warm. Why was the decaying matter moist and warm? Due to the presence of microorganisms or microbes. Children picked up various seeds and leaves for their collection. Walking over the dead leaf layer on the forest floor was like walking over a spongy carpet. Due to the so many leaves falling down on the forest floor, it was spongy. Is the decaying matter always warm? Yes, as microbes act on the decaying matter and they breathe, so it is warm. Professor Ahmed suggested that the children could perform an activity to get an answer to this question. Activity 17.3. Dig a small pit. Put vegetable waste and leaves in it. Cover them with soil. Add some water. After 3 days, remove the upper layer of the soil. Does the pit feel warm inside? Paheli asked. There are so many trees here. Also, there are many forests like this. What difference will it make if we cut some trees for a factory? Professor Ahmed said, you have read about autotrophs, heterotrophs, saprotrophs. What are autotrophs, children? Plants which prepare their own food. Heterotrophs, those who depend on others for their food. And saprotrophs, those who have a mutual understanding among themselves, both help each other. And they depend on the dead plants and organisms for their food. You have learnt how green plants produce food. All animals, whether herbivores, plant-eating animals, carnivores, flesh-eating animals, depend ultimately on plants for food. Organisms which feed on plants often get eaten by other organisms. and so on. So what is this called? The process of eating and being eaten. This is food chain. The transfer of energy from one energy level to the other energy level. For example, grass is eaten by insect, which in turn is taken up by frog. The frog is consumed by snakes. This is said to form a food chain. Now you understood, children, what is food chain? The process of eating and being eaten. Grass is eaten by insect, insect is eaten by frog, frog is eaten by snake, snake is eaten by eagle. So this is a food chain. And grass can be eaten by deer also, and deer will be eaten by tiger. So another food chain can also form here. Here insect can be eaten by some bird also, and that bird can be eaten by some animal also. So this is again a food chain forming. So a network of food chain, a web of food chain is called food web. Many food chains can be found in the forest. All food chains are linked. If any one food chain is disturbed, it affects the other food chains. Every part of the forest is dependent on the other part. Everywhere in our ecosystem, everyone is dependent on the other for their livelihood, for their living. If we remove one component, say trees, all other components would be affected. No life would be there if trees are not there. Professor Ahmed asked children to pick up leaves from the forest floor and observe them under a hand lens. Now here is the diagram, children. Photosynthesis. Trees perform photosynthesis, take up the carbon dioxide, give out the oxygen. This oxygen is utilized by humans and animals. When these plants and animals, they die, decomposers act on them. Decomposers, they are the microbes which act on the organic matter and form humus and mix it with the soil. In the soil, due to decomposers acting, humus is present. Humus is the nutrient. Soil is here. Trees are there. Trees bind the soil and they prevent water loss. So they all are dependent on each other. They found tiny mushrooms over the decaying leaves. They also saw an army of tiny insects, millipedes, ants and beetle on them. These are the insects, millipedes, ants and beetle which act on the decaying matter. They were wondering how these organisms live here. Professor Ahmed explained that apart from these animals which are easily seen, there are several organisms and microorganisms that live in the soil. Yes, children, microbes are the living creatures which cannot be seen easily by our eyes, naked eye, without microscope, but they play an important role. Paheli wondered what mushroom and other microorganisms eat. They feed on the dead and decaying matter. Professor Ahmed replied that they feed upon the dead plant and animal tissues and convert them into a dark colored substance called humus. What is this humus, children? Formed from the organic matter, it increases the fertility of the soil. You have learned about humus in chapter 9. In which layer of the soil would you find humus? The topmost layer. What is its importance to the soil? It increases the fertility of the soil. It contains a lot of nutrients. The microorganisms which convert the dead plants and animals to humus, they are known as decomposers. This earlier I had told. They microorganisms which convert dead plants also, dead animals also, and decompose them to form humus, they are called decomposers. These microorganisms play an important role in the forest. Soon Paheli removed some dead leaves and discovered under them a layer of humus on the forest floor. The presence of humus ensures that the nutrients of the dead plants and animals are released into the soil. From there, these nutrients are again absorbed by the roots of the living plants. What happens if an animal dies in the forest? It get decomposed to form humus and get mixed up with the soil, thereby making the soil very rich. Sheila asked. Tibu replied that dead animals become food for vultures, crows, jackals and insects. In this way, the nutrients are cycled, so nothing goes waste in the forest. A dead plant is there, then also other plants grow on it. Dead animal is there, other animals feed on it, or it get decomposed to form humus. so nothing is a waste. Paheli reminded Professor Ahmed that he had not explained why forests are called green lungs. Now, this is a good question, children. Why are forests called green lungs? They are green in color, everybody knows it. Lungs, what is the function of lungs? To take in air and give out the carbon dioxide. To take in oxygen, give out carbon dioxide. Trees are responsible for taking up the carbon dioxide which is polluting the air and given by us and giving out the oxygen which is required by us. So they are known as green lungs. Professor Ahmed explained that plants release oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. The plants help to provide oxygen for animal respiration. They also maintain the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That is why forests are called lungs. The children saw clouds forming in the sky. Bujo recalled what he had learnt about water cycle in class 6. Trees take in water from their roots and release water vapor into the air through evaporation. If there were fewer trees, how will the water cycle be affected? Yes, if there are fewer trees, less rate and amount of transpiration, again evaporation will be less, so precipitation will be less. Tibu told them that the forest is not just home to plants and animals. Many people also live in the forest and they gain their livelihood from the forest. Some of them may belong to different tribes. Tibu explained that these people depend mostly on the forests. The forest provides them with food, shelter, water, and medicines. Most of their essential needs are fulfilled by the forest. They have traditional knowledge about many medicinal plants in the forest. While Bujo was drinking water from a small stream, he saw some deer crossing the stream. They disappeared into the bushes. The dense bushes and the tall grass provide animals with the food and shelter. They also protect them from carnivores that live in the forest. So these tall grasses help the deer and smaller animals to hide so that carnivores do not see them easily or eat them. That's all for today, children. Thank you.